Welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. Oak City Tech can help you get found in this crowded, loud digital world. They can help you with a website. They can help you with social media. They can help you with emails, content, anything you need. So if you want to be found today in this world, please go to oakcitytech.com. Tell them we said hi. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning, and each week on Triangle BNI, we bring you a small business success story from Triangle BNI. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking event. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle is Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. Each week, about 30 chapters and almost 600 members get together, and our number one goal is to help each other grow their business. And our small business success story guest today is Bekki Bennett, owner of The Design Corner. Becky, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Mike?
Doing good. Enjoying this nice, cool weather. We talk to our northern friends, and they have no sympathy for us, nor should they. When it's 26 here with no precipitation, they just don't want to hear it. I was on my Toastmaster group, my Toastmaster meeting Zoom call this morning, and one of the ladies in the chapter moved to Minneapolis to be closer to her son and, more importantly, her new granddaughter. And it was -9 and the wind chill was -24. So I'm good today.
Yeah, the exact reason I will never live any further north or west than the triangle.
It's nice we get all four seasons here, and as we're talking about before we came on here, we just need that one good 3 to 4 inch snowfall once a year, and we're good.
Exactly. Just
Yeah,
a nice little dusting,
mhm,
enough to go sledding, good snowball fight. Yep.
yeah, and be done with it because we're all in Zoom, so we don't have to go anywhere. Let's start with the most important questions first. Okay, we'll get the tough ones out of the way. All right, so you got two K's and an I in your first name. Where did this come from?
That was actually my father's negotiation with my mother. Um,
Okay.
Being from the South, my father wanted to name me simply Nikki Bennett. That was it. My mother felt that proper Southerner, you needed your first, middle, last name, and a nickname. So she won that aspect of Rebecca M. Bennett, and he got the spelling of Becky like Nikki, sort of.
Okay. And my guess is people have just butchered this since the day you could start reading it, correct?
Oh, the best. My ninth grade English teacher, front of the book, Beckie.
Beckie. Probably should, if she put a Y on there, she'd have them all together, and you got
Yep.
to be right.
Um,
Jeez.
but this was the English teacher. Please note,
Yes.
English teacher.
Did you show her that and say, "You're close? I'll give you a B minus"?
So somehow, as a freshman, I just kind of let it go.
Yeah. Why not? Why not?
She was actually a very good, very kind teacher. So, and my mom's a teacher, so I just kind of let that one go.
Eh, and you just open mail or get emails, however they want to spell it, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Do you
Um,
ever are you done correcting people on how to spell it?
for the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also not correcting people if they mispronounce it.
How would you say it?
Evidently, there's actually two E's. Beaky.
Beaky. God. All right. Well, that's all I need to hear. That's a good best line of the day so far. Beaky. I like that. Hopefully, I won't say that during the show. So, Becky is in RDO6 Profits in the Park. They meet Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. at Hope Community Church in Morrisville when we meet in person, but right now it's all of Zoom. You are very new to BNI.
Yes.
Please share your story that I learned the other day of why you're in BNI and why you're in the chapter you're in.
um, well, I was in another networking group that was much more of a B2C group. And in that group, I met Michelle Owens. and she was president and has been a huge supporter and fan, which I greatly appreciate and love her for. She left to go to BNI, to Profits in the Park, and I'm about 6 months behind her. And when she learned that I was thinking about going to BNI, she basically threatened my life that if I did not come to her chapter, I would be in trouble.
Yes, and I learned this past Friday when we did new member success training, and I shall have a word with Michelle about not we my chapter did not get a shot at bringing you on as a member, so I shall remind her of that on occasion. But Michelle is a friend of the show, so we'll give her a little bit of a pass, but not a lot. Networking obviously is very important in your world. What have you learned about being in BNI?
Um, Luckily for me, the biggest takeaway has been givers gain. That it goes kind of with me already in that building the relationship, you have to have the trust in who you put your brand with, who's going to handle that kind of stuff. And that's just how I work in general. Build that relationship. The customer service follows. It's just natural progression.
The design corner is graphic design, embroidery, logos, monograms, pretty much anything or any way you can put something on a promotional product or item. Is that close to being correct?
Very good. Very good. Very good.
Does it take you long to explain to people what you do? And then does that get their mind going of, ooh, that would be fun to have this on that?
It does, because it's not cookie cutter. So because I can do so many different techniques and have so many different product options, it's really up to the client. Whatever they want can be done.
Now we're going to talk about Illustrate Ink in just a minute, but let's talk the first day or the first week of the design corner. How did that first transaction go where you had to put something on a item?
Um, it was a process. Um, Everything I know has been through trial and error testing, just seeing what works, what doesn't. So the first thing was vinyl on a t-shirt, and it may have taken me all day to get the design right for the printer and cutter to do its job the way it was supposed to do its job.
And you got paid what for that job?
Not enough.
Yes. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But what was what was it? What did you charge them for? What did your hourly rate turn out to be?
I honestly don't remember. It was a good friend who allowed me to help with that project, and it was like, yeah, nice learning curve.
Well, but you're right. That's the only way to do it is put your hands on it so you can understand it.
Yep,
You have some machinery in your house, correct?
I do. I have
All right.
quite a bit.
And have you found a place for everything now?
Yes. Right now, everything has a home. Everything will have a home until I decide to either upgrade or add new toys.
How much of it are you doing right now? And have you been able to bring somebody on to help grow the business?
Um, at this point, design I do probably 99 to 100%. Um, Production wise, I do the majority of the small batch runs that I specialize in. When it comes to large projects, I do have people that will step in and help so that I'm not losing my networking time or the administration aspect where I cannot be involved.
And what was that process like as you were learning the value of your time to continue to do the networking to grow the business instead of being stuck in the basement?
I love my basement. It's a nice cinder block place, but it's hard. It's hard finding that balance of turning the projects quickly enough for the customer and still networking to be able to bring in new work. So you definitely have to find that balance, that happy place.
Is there a favorite item you like putting logos on?
Oh, there's a couple. Drinkware is probably my favorite. There's such a variety and there's something for everybody. And it's fun. It's fun to see what I can do or can't do.
Is it usually pictures that people bring you?
Sometimes it's pictures. I did quite a few coffee mugs back at the holidays for family photos and of the kids for the grandparents, that kind of thing. Um, Oftentimes it's logos for small businesses or their motto or a catchphrase.
Do you now that brings another question. Do you want them to bring logo ready, or do you enjoy designing when they say, we think we like this, but we don't know what it's really supposed to be?
Um, that's a hard one. If they have their logo and they want their logo on, it needs to be ready for me. It needs to be professionally done in either an Illustrator or EPS file format so that it is correct. If it's simply adding text for a catchphrase or something memorable for something special, I love creating that and having those moments as well.
Is your design eye pretty good now that you've done, oh, just a few hundred items over time?
It is. I love designing. I actually have always been very good at it. My mother thought that I should have gone to art school, not a 4-year degree. But dad won the battle on that because he was paying the bill. So have the 4-year degree. But as far as art goes, certain things can be taught like software. Certain um, certain things there's just an eye or an innate intuition of what goes, what doesn't, how things get spaced, what looks good. And my mother was a painter, and so I got some of that naturally from her.
Do you get stopped occasionally once people know what you do? They pull you aside and say, hey, can you peek at this? Do these two colors go together? Or do you get questions like that?
Sometimes it if it's somebody that knows me pretty well, yeah, they will send me little things and be like, "What do you think? Does
Yeah.
this work? How does this go together?" And it may not even be a design project. It could be something like uh, sheets and a comforter or something. It's like, does this work together? It's like, sure, if that's what you like.
Did when back in the day when we used to go to parties at people's houses, did they pull you into a room and show you colors they were thinking about putting or using in the room?
It's been known to happen, which is not my forte. I do it great for logos and the things that I'm designing, but not interior design. That's way too personal for when I'm not there. I'm not living there. I don't have to come home to it every day.
Then can we assume everything you have or use has a logo on it?
Not everything. A good majority.
And do you have logoed stuff around the house because you are making 20 of an I 20 of an item and you ended up with 21, you just kept it, so now you use that coffee mug or that pen or something like that?
Oh yeah. Um, if it turns out really good, I will intentionally do one or two to have as a sample and a display and help promote other small businesses.
There you go. How much can you do out of the house right now, though?
Surprisingly a lot. Um, Especially with the sublimation because the timing on it is so quick. It's a very smooth, easy process. So, I mean, I did 50 shirts in a batch at the holidays, and I think it took me 2 hours. So, it's a very quick, easy, efficient way to do things.
We are here with Becky Bennett, owner of the Design Corner. She is also an RDO6 Profits in the Park in BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. Folks, you need to start with a website. They got to find you. You could have the greatest product or service in the world, but if they can't find you, it's going to be hard to do business with you. So please go to oakcitytech.com, tell them what you're looking for. And I know Drago and his crowd can help you get what you need so you can be found and start growing your business. All right, Becky, one of the questions I had written down actually was, what is sublimation? And you brought it up first, so let's get a description of what that is.
Sublimation is a chemistry term. It is actually when something goes from a solid to a gas and never becomes a liquid. So you have ink on a paper. It becomes immediately a gas when heat's applied, certain temperatures, certain pressures, and it permanently dyes a substrate, whether it's drinkware, t-shirt, what have you. The big difference is for vinyl screen printing, all those, they're actually adding a layer onto the shirt, the tumbler, whatever it may be, where sublimation permanently dyes it so it will not crack or peel or flake off.
Is that the old screen printing that we used to see that put the sheet down on the paper and bring the 400-degree steamer down on top of it?
That is actually different than sublimation. It actually melts and becomes part of it, where if you run your finger across drinkware, you oftentimes feel the little ridges where it's applied and sitting on top of. If it's sublimation, it's not an extra layer on top of, whether it's a shirt or whatever.
And that technique can be used on anything.
Anything that is coated with polyester, yes.
Polyester, one of your favorites, right?
Yes.
Oh, yes. No fumes or anything when you sublimate the basement?
Depends on what I'm sublimating. Mouse
Okay.
pads and flip flops, or the patio door has to be open.
Wait, flip flops?
Uh-huh.
The top or the bottom?
Where your feet goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That can be completely decorated, so it's great for brides or travel groups or whatever.
Okay. Well, I had that later in the show. Let's just go down that road here. Give me some other things that are like, all right, hang on a sec. Why are you logoing that?
Um, the most unique item I have in the arsenal downstairs is fishing lures.
Because fish can read. Yeah.
I don't know who needs a custom fishing lure, but if you do, I have options.
And did you put a company logo on there?
I haven't figured out what to do with that one yet. It came in I get things like test items every month, and it came that way, and it's like, I haven't found anything to do with the fishing lure just yet.
Well, I guess one of my first thoughts would be a picture of food that fish like to eat, so they'd be more inclined to jump on the hook, right?
Although I did have, in another networking group, we were talking about it, and for an internet company, for internet security, cybersecurity, something about stopping the phishing.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So,
With a PH. Okay.
yep.
I get it. The traditional things we think about when we want to logo something are pens, notepads, t-shirts, and hats.
Yep.
Is that a good percentage of your business?
T-shirt apparel, definitely is. Whether it's t-shirts, polos, jackets, apparel's huge. Tote bags are huge, as is drinkware. And there's a
Drinkware,
wide, yeah,
yeah, you and I have spoken on that very much.
yeah.
So that's a very, very big for grandparents. And yes, so we'll be talking about that later.
Yep.
Your first job you did, if I recall reading your bio and writing it down correctly, your journey started about 10 years ago with a polo shirt.
Yes.
Tell us that story, please.
Um, at the time I had a different company name, and I did architectural renderings. And I would go into home builders' offices and would not always get the attention I needed. If I dressed too nicely, I got treated and ignored one way. If I dressed like they did, I got treated and ignored a different way. Because there were always people walking back and forth, and I just wanted that polo shirt with my logo on it, and for people to recognize that I mean, I would see people that I knew walk by, and where I was, I couldn't like jump up and down and wave and get their attention, and they'd glance but wouldn't recognize me. So that's where I wanted my polo shirt very badly.
And that took you how long to do?
um, that was a want way very early on, and it was when the recession in '08 hit that I decided that I started pivoting before I guess pivoting was a thing.
Mhm.
Um, that just being with home builders was not going to be a good thing, so I needed to diversify, and I found a awesome vinyl printer cutter, and I luckily had family members that believed in me and backed me and helped me, and then that became the one of the first things I did.
And that was the first piece of machinery you bought?
Yep, sure was.
And where did you put it initially?
At the time I was living in a very old house, so it got a bedroom all by itself.
And that worked out nicely.
That house was great for that. It was a very old house that had a long hallway, and it was like 4 bedrooms, so it got its own bedroom.
Very nice. Your first embroidery machine you bought was when?
Um, about 6 years ago, 6, 7 years ago.
What kind of machinery is on the bucket list?
A laser.
Oh, talk about a toy. Will
Yeah,
we read about you bringing one of those home in 2021?
if all goes right.
And what will you be able to do with that you can't do now?
Um, that I can do etching, which means I can do other substrates like leather, metal, pins, smaller items where it would be etched or engraved, awards, plaques, all that kind of stuff.
Do we make, as the consumer, do we make any bad assumptions about how easy or quick or cheap something will be?
Yes.
Do share some of those with us, because I love educating and entertaining each week.
Um, well, 2020 changed a lot of things. Most people wanted to do, they thought cheap was good because it did not impact their bottom line financially. But over time, it's shown that spending a little bit more, having a useful item of quality actually means more to who they're giving that item to. If it's a pen and it use it once and it breaks, it's going in the trash. You've wasted your money. The cost per impressions of an item, which is how many times you pay for an item to be seen. So like a $10 shirt over time has like 1,000 impressions. And it's amazing that what you think is an inexpensive item, if you spend just a little bit more so that it lasts, you get so much more out of the lifetime advertising of it.
I think we've all had that t-shirt or seen somebody wearing that t-shirt where the lettering is starting to peel off or
Yep.
fading, and it looks bad. If like for guys or anybody, if you're working out or just in the yard, nobody cares. But the minute you walk off your own property and you're out amongst the public and people are like, yeah, dude, how long you had that shirt?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There are some, those classics that, maybe it's time to retire it and turn it into a pillow
Yeah.
or a quilt.
Yeah. Or a rag to be used around the house, right?
And depending on the shirt, yeah. But
You're good.
I was just to say, but and that depends on the process too. Where um, like sublimation, if you have it on a t-shirt, you're not going to have the peeling and cracking. You may have the holes from the wear, but
Mm.
the artwork's still going to look good.
And I've talked to a few promotional product people. And I don't think I've ever heard a cost per impression, but that is important the more you think about it. Cause you're right. If I pick up a pen and it lasts me a couple weeks, yeah, I throw it away and nobody ever sees that again. I didn't think a lot of people thought that way, but I guess as a business person, you have to explain to them the value of spending that extra $2 or $30 or whatever the number is.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting 500 pins and they're costing you 50 cents a piece, and there's another pin that might be a little bit nicer, last a little bit longer, little more durable, the average pin life is about 6 months. People will keep a pin for 6 months. I know I still have pins from UPS store and the election in November sitting around because you couldn't leave it there. It came with.
Mhm.
Um,
Yes.
but there are a lot of items that if you are smart with it and they're useful, it doesn't have to break the bank. You can look at the quantity, what works, and it makes a huge difference because you have to have your brand out there for people to see.
Then for the business people listening and watching, if they want to get their logo, generally, again, we talked earlier, shirts and hats and pins. From a company standpoint, what else are they wanting their logo on to give to customers and potential customers?
Um, when they talk to me, I try to help learn about their business, how they would be using it. Um, it could be that it's a bakery and they're wanting T-shirts for their staff. Well, maybe they don't really have that budget, and there's enough turnover that's they're losing the T-shirts. Somebody they may be wearing them out and about, but you don't know. So a little bit more money and doing aprons as a uniform, you have control of that as the business owner. Um, I try to learn and figure out what makes sense with your brand. Cybersecurity, maybe you need the webcam covers. There's data blockers that can go when you plug your phone to your laptop so that you don't get hacked. There's a lot of items out there that people wouldn't necessarily think about that are much more useful.
Well, and you say that this is not for business purposes, but this is the cover of my phone,
Yep,
and it's got Oliver's pictures on it, and that was a wonderful Christmas present last year.
exactly.
And that's what creativity and machinery is doing. That I don't know if that might have been available 5 years ago. I never had one, but I do like that.
Oh yes. Um,
Speak Speaking of branding, how difficult was it to go to college at UNC Wilmington?
it was the best 4 years of my life, and I graduated in 4 years.
Which is rare these days. And then you went and busted the curve at Wake Tech with a 4.0. See, Becky, it was people like you when I was in school that I needed help to get my 78 to an 86 with a curve. But now people like you in the front row were killing the curve.
Well, it's for me, it's easy when you love something,
Yes.
when you're inspired by what you're doing, it's easy to want to learn and you become a sponge and want to know everything possible. So yeah, but being on the beach and studying on the beach for class at UNCW is pretty awesome.
That has to be a difficult freshman year to make the right decision.
Freshman year, I didn't spend as much time at the beach. That was my sophomore, junior, and senior years.
Okay. So you got the base grades out of the way and okay.
Yeah.
While that would be fun and it's a fine choice, I would imagine some days you look out the window, it's 11:15. I really don't want to go to that 1 o'clock today.
When you had the option, once you got high enough in the major that you could pick your
Yeah.
Fridays and your Monday classes,
Oh
life
yeah.
life was generally pretty good.
All the freshmen were in class on Friday and the juniors and seniors were at the beach.
Yep.
Nice. Could you study at the beach?
Yes.
You were able to sit under an umbrella or somewhere and do that, right?
What umbrella? No, I didn't need an
Okay.
umbrella.
Oh, that's true. Young back then. Yeah, I forget.
Well,
So
I was also a recreation major, so what'd you expect?
yeah, I didn't want to bring that up, but yeah, I saw that too.
But
We
yeah,
are
I would take my books and my lounge chair and sit there and read.
in work, right? Okay, we
Yeah,
got it. There you go. As long as
yeah,
your grades came in and mom and dad didn't say anything, who really cared?
exactly.
It's again, my analogies, and most of them are sports related. And playing golf, I made 4 on the hole. I didn't tell you that I hit it off the cart shed and it bounced back into the fairway, and then I skipped it over the water. Nobody cares. I made a 4. So yeah, if your grades are good, who cares how long you're sitting in that beach chair making your grades, right?
Exactly.
We are here with Bekki Bennett, owner of the Design Corner. Becky is in RDO6. They meet Tuesday mornings at 9 o'clock. Where are my notes? 9 o'clock at Hope Community Center. They're not there right now. It is all Zoom. So if you live in the Morrisville area and want to meet a really good group of people that help each other grow their business, please get up with them and go visit on a Tuesday morning. I know you will find it worth your while. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. Let's talk social media. It is hard to post every day. It's hard to post twice a day. It sounds good. For the first 3 or 4 days, you're excited. You got your graphics ready to go. And then it's Friday. It's like, I haven't posted anything in a day. Go to the professionals like Oak City Tech. They'll be able to help you do that. Keep your message out there, clear and consistent, so people can find you and grow your business. Go to oakcitytech.com. All right, Becky, one of my favorite questions in the show, and I had to clear it with you because I generally clear it with everybody from a previous learning experience. You are engaged right now.
Correct.
And I always ask people, and this, I'll rephrase it for you. How did you meet your fiance? And do you both tell the story the same way?
Um, I met him initially in high school,
Ooh, at Apex High School.
Apex High School.
There you go.
I was offensive play-by-play statistician, and he was one of the football players. Um, After graduation, he was a year ahead of me. He graduated. I didn't see him for a number of years, and I was walking my dog downtown Apex, and a white truck went by. Didn't think anything about it. Kept right on walking, and out the peripheral of my eye, I see a truck very slowly coming at me,
Mhm.
and I'm desperately trying to get to the corner because I think this person's like kind of aiming the truck at me, and he pulls up into incoming traffic.
Mhm.
Um, Becky, and I'm like, oh my gosh! So it's been from that point, which has been probably 12 years or so now.
Okay, so you're gaining on this, but okay, the engagement, the marriage thing. Okay, cool. I know COVID played a role in it last year, and I hope that this year it can work out however you guys want it to. Because I
Yeah.
know we had 2 of our nieces had to adjust weddings last year, and we have a nephew getting married in April who has had to adjust his wedding, but it's still going on. Where was the official first date?
Um, oh goodness. There is a sushi restaurant, or there was at the time, at Lake Boone shopping center down by the hospital.
Yeah,
Can't think of the name of it, but that was where.
right by the Paneras. Yeah, just
Um,
down at the bottom of the hill by the belt line.
yes.
Yep,
Yeah. Um,
gotcha.
well, there was a sandwich shop in there, and it was right next to that where yeah.
Okay. And it was just love from that moment on. Now, I will take your fiance side on when we want to see a girl we really want to see, we will drive into oncoming traffic. That is no surprise at me at all.
Luckily, the street was not busy at the time, but I was
Yeah.
maybe a little nervous when I couldn't tell who it was. Kind of
Yes.
aiming at me.
Yeah. He was not leaving that area until you two talked.
Exactly.
Yes. And
And
yeah, so
as it turns out, he actually had a crush on me in high school.
no surprise there, right? Come on, right?
You know,
Yeah.
what can I say?
So anyways, happy that you reconnected. So,
Yes.
signage. Let's talk indoor signage. I worked in a previous life. I worked at Daytona International Speedway,
Uh-huh.
2.5 mile speed super speedway. There's 160,000 seats there. We had to have all kind of signage. The track president, John Graham, was awesome. He would yell at us until we learned when we were walking to also look up for signage opportunities, because everybody walks either looking straight ahead or straight down. And he just kept preaching that to us. And most people, when they think of signage, they think of big signs on the outside of a building. But the value of good signage indoors is worth whatever people are paying for, isn't it?
Absolutely. Whether it's a mural at the end of a hallway, conference room, small decals, whatever, it's definitely worth having.
And you just think of yourself as the consumer when you walk in, just pick a building, it doesn't matter, and you have no idea where to go. That is a very frustrating feeling.
Yes, it is. And especially with COVID times when things suddenly in grocery stores and whatnot, all the rules, all the regulations, one way down aisles, you can't go this way, you have to use this door, not that door. Yeah, it gets crazy.
Have you been making the 6-foot signs that go on the floors in a lot of these retail establishments?
I have done more than I would have anticipated, yes.
Mhm. Did you get into making any masks?
I have done more than my fair share of masks as well.
Have you gotten that down to a science now?
Oh, yes. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I have experimented. I was able to get a number of different styles, and most of them are adjustable, and some have pockets with filters, some are just 2 and 3 layers. So, yeah.
Have people come to you without mentioning any names, some creative, let's just say statements or slogans to put on their masks?
There have been a few.
Okay.
There
And you happy to put those on there without your company's logo on there so nobody knows where they came from?
pretty much. They were for friends. They were typically people that know me and know that, you know,
Yeah.
happy to assist for that gift or wedding or what have you.
Did it take you a while to figure out the right material to recommend, and then what to price it at, how long it took you to make these?
Um, the mask, not so much, because I'm able to get those from a supplier, but when I'm doing the embroidery, it certainly did because certain fabric types need certain stabilizers. If it's very stitch heavy, it may not work well. It may pucker the fabric if it's not done correctly. So there's a lot of challenges with that.
And people have gotten creative on the masks. Saw one finally, I guess it was a month or so ago, with a smile on the mask,
Yes.
which
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been told that even when you have your mask on, when you're in a picture, still smile because your eyes, people can tell through your eyes if you're smiling or not.
That is very true. I actually worked for one of the airlines. American Airlines has a call center here in Cary, and we were taught to actually smile on the phone
Mhm.
because it does change the muscles in your face, does change how your voice sounds as
Oh,
well.
totally agree.
So yeah,
And there are kids masks. Are there kids and adult sizes?
yes, there's kids and small and large. So I had one of the small ones, and it for me it barely fit here. So every time I talked, it was moving. So I have a large one. Evidently, I talk a lot.
Not going to say anything on that till later, at least when there's no recording or anything that anybody could send back to you. My favorite is the chin mask. Why
Yes,
are we wearing it if you're not going to put it over your mouth or nose? And I'm
yes,
not going to get political on anything here, and usually it's in sports. In
yes.
football, the coach on the sideline clearly was told to wear the mask, and he's wearing it on his chin
It's
so
a
he
chin
can
strap,
talk. It cracked me up.
and
The
the others
oh
I like are where they're right here below the nose,
yeah,
and it's like,
yeah.
come on, you can do it.
Yes, and I realized the other day my wife and I went to run some errands on Saturday. It's like, okay, I think I need to wash mine. It's been long enough. So On your website, you have the phrase helping you stay out of the junk drawer.
Yes.
Please unpack that for me.
Um, Promotional items, if they're not of quality and they're not useful, they're either going to get pitched or end up in your junk drawer. And, you know, if you're going to spend the money on advertising and using promotional items, you don't want it to be something that ends up in somebody's drawer, never to be seen again, only to be thrown away later.
I agree on that from a company standpoint. From a consumer standpoint, in my car, in the uh, between the seats,
Yep.
my whatever you call that, I've got like 10 or 12 pens. Every time I collect a pen somewhere, I just put it there so I know I always have a stash of pens, but it does that company no good.
Right.
Especially now. The console, God, couldn't think of the word. So especially now. Your other statement you have on your company is where swag meets style.
That is accurate.
I like that. Is there a particular item, whether you don't have to mention the company name or not, that you were pleased with the way it turned out because they kind of came to you with an idea, and when you're done, you said, "Hey, that was well done."
Yes. Yeah. There was a financial advisor that did tumblers back at the holidays for clients.
Ooh. Are those hard to do?
Um, Depends on what is going on them. They can be because of the curvature. They're not straight up and down on the wine tumblers, but they turned out really nice.
Okay. And that is a hot item because coffee at home or heading out, or hopefully in the summertime, keeping a cool beverage, right?
That is true, but at the same time, drinkware has become much more popular with logos because everybody's on a Zoom call.
Yes. I always make sure my power tea is facing the camera so when I drink.
Yep. So, when you have 20 people on a call
Yeah.
and every time you take a drink, your logo is being seen, it helps. They may not remember the little name in the corner of the screen,
Mm.
but at least the brand is getting seen.
Okay, let's go down this road then. I had not thought about this from a Zoom standpoint. Are there some other subtle ways we can get our logo on there?
Well, you've always got the backdrops,
Mhm.
but t-shirts, hats, your typical stuff. Not on screen, but one of the biggest items has been phone stands because if you're doing a one-on-one and you have to have notes, you know, if you don't have a stand either sitting beside your computer or right there at your keyboard, you're looking all over the place to read
Mm.
your notes. So if you can be a little bit more seamless and have a phone stand, it helps make the eye contact on the screen.
Back in the day when we could go out, and I always enjoyed doing one-to-ones at Panera's, being a happy member of their coffee club.
Uh-huh.
And occasionally I would see people with a laptop sitting at a table and they have their logo on the back of their laptop. So when people
Yep,
walk in, they can see the design corner or whatever company you're working for. Do you do those as well?
I do. There's actually two ways of doing it. You can do a permanent or temporary adhesive sticker decal, or you can do a cling, which is a static version, and you can slap it on and take it off.
Hmm. I thought that was pretty clever. One day I walked in and the guy, I forget exactly, I don't think it was a financial company, may have been an insurance company. And I walked in, it's like, oh, that's pretty clever.
Yeah,
Because it's sitting right there for everybody to see, and you may as well. Because even if one person a month comes up and asks him something, it's a
exactly.
potential new client.
Or even just doesn't get a chance to talk, but they jot the company name down and
Mhm.
contact him later.
Yeah. What is the one item you have not branded or logoed yet that you wish to do in the not too distant future?
Hmm. There's got to be something, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
um, Probably my fishing lure.
There you go. That's so funny. Again, we'll have to have that. That's like another conversation. The people fishing lure. Oh, it cracks me up. The people who get car door magnets, do you do those?
Um, Not directly. I have a couple of places that I can either refer or outsource it to.
Can you pass on some unsolicited advice from somebody they do not know? Is the design probably looks awesome on a laptop screen, but when you print it and put it on the side of your car, you need to be standing about 4 inches away to see the cursive, to see the 8 colors they put in it. And there's nothing wrong with black block letters.
Yeah, absolutely. When it is designed for the web, it's usually at a resolution of 72 dots per inch. Anything print, quality print, is 300 dots per inch. So you have to have those more dots, and you don't want too much content. You just want the logo and a phone number, or keep it basic so that the number is large enough to be seen. And you don't want a lot of thick and thin contrasting characters in your fonts. It makes the readability and legibility very difficult.
I am that old guy, early morning neighborhood walker, happy to be it. There's a truck I go by, and granted it's dark, but there's a truck I go by. I had to get 3 paces away to read it. And I'm like, come on, you're just, and I don't know what the purpose of them putting it on there. I don't know if they've stepped back to look at it, but even sitting at a red light, Becky, you'd have to squint your eyes to see this. And then going 45 miles an hour, there's no way they're going to see that.
Oh yeah, I have seen so many of those, especially company trucks, and the font they've used, the size they've done, you can't read it. Sometimes it's big enough to read, but it's not readable because they've picked some crazy decorative font rather than something that, as you say, going by at 50 miles an hour, oh, that's who that is. That's their number.
Yes, here's our advice to people. If you decal your car, A, make it readable, and B, don't put 16 bullet points. We can't remember passing you at 65 miles an hour. Just put your name and your phone number. We'll figure out, or your website. We'll figure out the rest. So.
Exactly.
Anyways, Bekki Bennett, the Design Corner, wonderful having you here today. I hope 2021, it turns out to be a good year for you. I've given up trying to figure out where we are on the arc of COVID. We just are. If people want to get in touch with you, we've been putting the number up on the screen here, 911, not 911, 919. Yeah, it's 911 because it's an emergency to get some good stuff out there. But let's try 919 this time, 522-2071. If anybody here needs some good branded material, or you know somebody that does, please go to the Design Corner or give Becky a call. You will be in good hands, and she'll make you look way better than you thought you'd look.
Thank you so much, Mike. I greatly appreciate it.
Yep. So good luck with everything. Thanks for coming on today. We had a good time, and we'll see everybody next time on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.